Hello 各位同學，大家好啊！咁今日我哋就早咗少少去開呢個 live 啦，咁好開心可以請到我哋嘅官方收生代表 from University of Bristol 去同大家去介紹翻一啲 Bristol 嘅課程嘅，係咁包括咗有好受歡迎嘅獸醫啊、牙醫啊、醫科啊等等嘅 courses，咁包括最近啦，就係 globally 比較興少少 computer science 啊，同埋 AI 嘅 course。咁我哋有 Head of Internationals 啦，Miss Steph Wood 啦，可以同大家去介紹下。So thank you for your time, Steph. So it's great to have you here today to join our live session with students to introduce Bristol. So yeah, it's great to invite you as Bristol is one of the most prestigious university in England and also United Kingdom. So yeah, it would be great if you can briefly introduce your institution to our students.
Of course, and thank you to Kenny and all colleagues at SI UK for having me on the call today. So before I talk about my university, I'll explain a little bit about me and what I do. So my name is Steph, and I am the head of international student recruitment here at Bristol. And myself and my team, we support students who are thinking of coming to the UK and, of course, to Bristol for their degree studies. I'm also a Bristol alumnus myself. I studied for my bachelor's degree in English at the university quite some time ago now, but I had an absolutely wonderful time studying and living in the city myself. And I love Bristol so much that I haven't actually left the city since I graduated. So it's great to be able to share more about our university and our fabulous city as well. So yes, as Kenny says, we are a really well-known university, and we have a fantastic reputation for our academic studies, but also amongst top employers as well. So we are really proud that Bristol ranks in the world's top 100 and also the UK's top 10 university. And we've recently risen to 55th in the latest QS World Rankings. So our university has a fantastic reputation both in our home country, the UK, but also further afield too. We're also in the top 5 UK unis for research, and we are part of the Russell Group, which I'm sure lots of you will have heard about when you were looking into your university options. And I'll talk soon a little bit about why research is really important to what we do here at Bristol and some of the really key areas that our staff are focusing on at the moment. Could pop on to the next slide, Penny? That would be great.
Yeah, sure. So and we actually also heard that Bristol will be getting into QS top 50 very soon. So that's
very much hope so.
yeah, and it's because due to the research and also academic performance of students and also professors, yeah, it's really likely. A lot of our students, they plan to apply, and they applied Bristol as one of the main UCAS choices. Yeah.
Fantastic. We do have a real history of excellence at Bristol. So I know many of you will be looking at the different rankings that are available. It can be a little bit confusing looking at the different ranking systems as they're all based on quite different metrics. But certainly Bristol does tend to feature very highly, not just in UK rankings, but also worldwide rankings too. And there are also some really interesting points about our student community. So we are quite an old university. We were founded in the 1870s as a university college. But also what I find really exciting about Bristol, we were the first uni in England to admit women on an equal basis to men. So equality and that reaching out to society is a real part of what we do here at Bristol, both historically, but also in terms of the research and the outreach that we do now. And we're also part of some really fantastic groups that connect us with other institutions worldwide. So particularly the Worldwide Universities Network, but we also have links with some brilliant and very prestigious partner universities all across the world, including unis in Hong Kong, like HKU, Hong Kong Uni of Science and Technology, City University as well. And that's for all sorts of different initiatives. That can be for research and teaching, but also for study abroad and exchange programs too. So in terms of the size of the university, so just to give you a bit of an idea of the scale of Bristol, We are a medium to large uni with just over 30,000 students studying with us across all of our courses. But we are really proud of how diverse our student community is here at Bristol. So over 1/4 of our students are international students, and currently they come from over 150 different countries, which means that you have an opportunity to make friends from all over the world when you study with us. But that diversity doesn't just stop with our students. Our staff also come from all over the globe. And that means that our classrooms are places where discussion and debate with people from many different backgrounds really helps you to have a genuinely international experience when you study with us.
Yeah, and also I actually also heard that the nationality mix of Bristol is very equal around the globe. Because for some universities, some Russell Group universities, it's really centralized in one nationality, and I think Bristol did really well in the diversify of different nationality students. Though it has a really nice reputation in Hong Kong and also mainland China. So I think, and also research, it's really great around for Bristol. Comparing to other universities, and it shows in the rankings as well.
Completely. And we're really proud to be a research intensive university, because this means that when you study with us, you as a student have the opportunity to take part in your own research, but you can also benefit from the research culture that we have as part of the teaching that we offer to students. So we use our expertise, the fantastic facilities that we have, lots of different cutting edge ideas and techniques, really to make an impact on the world, but also to inform the teaching that we give to our students. So our students would work on real life projects with academics who are experts in their field. So as well as teaching the facts of your subject, our researchers will pass on their knowledge, their enthusiasm, and their experiences in the teaching sessions that you would have as both an undergrad and a postgrad at Bristol. And some of the research we do, fantastic. We have some examples of just a few of the areas of research that we focus on at Bristol. And what we do in this area is really influential and impactful. So the research that our staff and students are doing tackles some of the world's most challenging issues in a really wide range of different areas. So that's from infection and immunity up to human rights, climate change, information security and cryptography as well. So we have expertise across a really wide range of different areas, but we're actually making a difference. And that really helps our students get that real life project experience, especially when we're moving towards the last years of our undergrad degrees, and especially for our postgrad students as well.
So I guess we will cover the UG and PG programs later on, but of course it's the most numbers in Hong Kong are focused on UG market, and also of course the PGT will be really popular around the Hong Kong students which want a higher rank universities. And I think we can briefly talk about the campus first, and you know, one of my colleague, her sister studies in Bristol and got a really nice job after graduating, and she's currently in Bristol. So yeah, I think she got a really nice feedback for your institution. Yeah, so
that's great. That's great to hear. That's brilliant. And we're really lucky at Bristol that our university campus is near the centre of the city. So students can really easily enjoy everything that the city has to offer. And it's also then really convenient to find everything that you need for day-to-day life. So shopping, groceries, restaurants, and so on. So while we are at a city campus, the majority of our buildings, some of which you can see on the screen, are located in quite a compact part of the city. So you very much have a campus feel. It's really easy to find your way around and reach the different buildings and facilities that you need for study. But you're also in the middle of a really vibrant and exciting city that has lots and lots to offer for students and residents. And I hope that the images on the screen give you a picture of the different styles of buildings that we have as well. What I love about Bristol, it's a real mix of traditional buildings like the one you can see in my background, but also much more ultra-modern facilities that are designed to give students access to the best possible facilities for their study. There's also facilities for fun things as well. And you can see on the screen some of our sports facilities, particularly our Coombe complex, which is for our outdoor sports. So throughout the year, the Coombe complex has a whole variety of different matches that take place, including inter-uni matches, local National League matches as well. So if sports are important to you, maybe if you compete formally at the moment, there's absolutely lots of opportunities for you to keep that up when you come to study with us.
Right. Yeah. So we always know that the facilities and also the campus environment of Bristol is brilliant, and also the city is nice. And just a curious question: how will you compare, like, let's say, like Bristol versus London and Manchester, these kind of bigger cities in UK? So
Sure.
what's a good thing of Bristol?
Absolutely. I have to say I've only been to Manchester a few times, but I have spent a lot of time in London. I enjoy London. I think it's a fabulous city to be in. There's so much that you can do there, and it's really easy to visit London from Bristol. But what I think is fantastic about Bristol is the culture and the atmosphere of the city. It has what you would want from a city lifestyle. So it's got the shopping, the culture, the activity, but I think it's on a much more approachable and relaxed scale. It doesn't feel congested. It's not crazy busy. There's a real lovely mix of kind of town and countryside to Bristol as well. So you've got the city environment, but it's a really relaxed, friendly and welcoming place to be, especially as an international student. It's welcomed very many people from all different countries around the world, of course, to study, but also to work and live in the city as well. So it's very culturally diverse. But personally, and what I think our students really love is that it's a really chilled out place to be. It doesn't have the kind of crazy hecticness that places like London will have. And also on a more practical level, the cost of living is a little cheaper in Bristol than it is in central London. I know that's a concern for students and their families when they're thinking about places to study in.
Yeah, great. So let's move on to the most important thing, especially what really Hong Kong students really care about is how they can get into the competitive programs in Bristol. So one of the most popular programs across the globe is computer science now. And I think Bristol has relatively high requirements, comparing to other universities, because the ranking of CS is always top 10 for Bristol in UK, and also the research is strong enough. And I actually went through the course list, UG course list of Bristol, and found there are some amazing programs, like they can go for BSc AIs, and also they can go for data science. So what are the entry requirements, or also what type of students is Bristol actually looking for computer science programs?
Sure. So yes, our artificial intelligence option is a really exciting new course for us that's starting in September 2025. But I would say, though, that AI and data science have always been part of the computer science programs that we teach. But what we have seen is that there is a real desire for graduates and professionals in these fields. They're real hot topics at the moment. And it's very important to us that we're able to adapt what we teach to suit the demands of industry, because that is how students are employable. In terms of the entry requirements and what we're looking for our computer science students, for the A-level requirements, we'd be asking for an A star and 2 A's, and that would need to include mathematics. Maths is really important for CS and related programs. To translate that to IB, that would be 38 overall and 18 at high level. And you would need to have a 7 in mathematics there, but we can accept either of AA and AI. Either curriculum is fine there. And I know lots of you might be doing the HK DSE, and there we'd ask for 5-star, 5-5 across your core and elective subjects, and then at least a 3 in the other subjects too. Again, maths is important here. So we'd ask for you to have a 5-star in your core and one of the extended maths papers as well. But in terms of what we're looking for with students, I would say really think about the area of computer science that you're interested in. And importantly, why is it that you're interested in that? And how can you demonstrate that to the unis that you're applying for? So have you, for example, looked into programming? Have you learnt Python or Java or explored that a little bit in your own time? Have you been part of any clubs or projects either in or outside of school? So that helps us to understand more about your interests, why you've applied for computer science courses, and also gives us an idea of your skills and what kind of areas you might want to focus on in the project work that we do in our courses.
Right, and also I think a really limited number of students, they might go for internships in computer science companies. Do you think it really helps their application? Let's say if they put it in the personal statement or employment part of the UCAS, like internships.
It may do. In honesty, at Bristol, we're looking mainly at your academic performance. So your grades in your A-levels, IB, DSE, whatever curriculum that you're studying. But I think what is helpful with an internship is helping you as an individual understand more about the industry. So from our perspective at Bristol, having done an internship wouldn't necessarily make your application stronger than another student who hasn't. But I do think that from a personal perspective, that really gives you a lot of exposure to the industry, what's happening in those areas now, and then your understanding of the subject really grows, and you can see more from a practical level what kind of issues are really important in the discipline at the moment.
Right, and I saw the AI, being AI degree is a really new course, starting from 2025. So is there any reason behind why Bristol is launching such a popular major course? Because I think there are limited options in Russell Group for BSc AI or being AI, something like that.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, AI has always been part of our CS programs, but at Bristol, we want to make sure that we review our curriculum and our programs to make sure that it stays at that leading edge of teaching and research, and also that it helps prepare graduates as best as possible for a career now and in the future. And we need to remember as well that computer scientists and engineers more widely are right at the heart of what's happening in society at the moment. So these subjects have an impact on almost all aspects of our daily lives, how and where we live, the technology that we use, how we travel. So it's a really rapidly evolving field, and our courses are intended to make sure that students have access to that knowledge and to understand the subject, but also crucially, to be ready to face and tackle these challenges in the future. And that includes newer issues as well, particularly the ethical use of AI. So we absolutely look at the benefits and the opportunities, but also some of the risks that these developments and new technologies might bring in terms of how they're used across the world.
Right, and also one of the most popular courses we get the most of the inquiries is data science. So BSc data science is one of the most popular course. I think also it's A-star AA from my memory.
Yes.
For the
it has
requirement.
the same requirements overall as the CS programs. Here we would also like you to be taking a second subject that's related to maths, and most students really who are applying for these courses would be. So that maths related subject could be biology, chemistry, it could be computer science, physics, for example, because that's where we want to make sure that you've got the really good foundational skills to take that data science interest to a higher level.
Right, and I know it's really early to ask this question. Do you think CS related courses might be in clearing this year? For last year, I know there are very limited options last year.
Sure. I think, as you say, it's very early, Kenny. I think it is unlikely. In my experience, certainly over the past 3 years, we've seen interest in computer science absolutely skyrocket. It's one of the fastest growing areas in terms of student interest. So I will never say never, but I think it is unlikely that we would have CS programs in clearing this year. But do keep an eye on our website closer to the time. That's where we would always advertise any vacancies that we have coming up.
Okay. Yeah, so we got a question from those comments asking if there's medicine program in Bristol. Of course there is. And the requirements are, it's really competitive. I think in the whole UK, due to the limitations of international quotas. So what are the selection process of Bristol? Because some universities, let's say like Birmingham, Newcastle, they'll just directly screen students away if their UCAT grades aren't enough. I think students might be interested in how Bristol select their preferred candidates.
Of course. And yes, you're right. The level of competition for both of our clinical programs, so medicine and dentistry, is extremely high. We do use the UCAT in a slightly different way to particularly the universities that you've mentioned. So I'll talk through how we process an application. The first stage, and this is for both medicine and dentistry, so hopefully it will give all applicants an idea of how we do this. So the first stage of our consideration is looking at your academic grades, so whether you meet the minimum entry requirements. Currently, for both these courses, we'd be looking for 3 A's in A-level, and that would include chemistry. That's a really important subject. For us, that's the compulsory subject you need. And then another subject. So that could be biology, physics, maths, or further maths. IB, that would be 36 overall, with 18 in your high levels, and a 6 and a 6 in chemistry and the science. And for DSE, that would be 3 5s, and then a 5 in chemistry and one of those other sciences. So the first stage of our consideration, once the UCAS deadline has passed, is we look at all of the applications and we see whether students have met those minimum requirements in whatever qualification they're taking. After that, we use the UCAT basically to rank students. So we use the combined score from all of the subtests in UCAT, with the exception of situational judgment. So the number that we use as a threshold to invite students to interview does change year on year, as of course it depends on how students have performed in the UCAT and who chooses to apply to Bristol. So we don't have a cutoff score. We basically use it as a ranking. To give you an idea, though, I know those watching who are interested in medicine might want to have a guide as to what the UCAT score will be. So as an idea, for 2023 entry, the intake that's just passed, the final UCAT threshold score to be invited to interview for medicine was 2960, and for dentistry was 2820. I would say, again, that might be different for this coming year, but just as a guide, those are the scores that we're inviting candidates to interview. And then the interview process, for the most recent intakes, we've done those online. Of course, COVID meant that we had to do those online. It may be in the future that we'll move back to our multiple mini interview model, but we'll certainly confirm that over the summer for any students interested in the 2025 intake.
Right. And I think many students would like to know how many international quotas are there for medicine and also dentistry, because especially dentistry, I think it's less than 10.
Yes, it is. Yes, so it's relative to the size of our overall school in those areas. So for dentistry, we have 4 international spaces, and for medicine, we have 19 international spaces. So it is, as you pointed out, Kenny, it is really, really competitive. What I would say, though, we get so many fantastic students applying for these courses, but because the quotas are so low and the application numbers are so high, it does mean that we have to make some really tough decisions on applications. So if you are applying to medical or dental schools and you're unsuccessful, that does not mean that you aren't a good student. That just means the numbers are really, really difficult to manage. So it's also a really great idea to think about other options as well. And Bristol and other unis have fantastic courses in biomedical sciences and life sciences, which, yes, are different in their focus, but are really, really good alternative choices if you are unlucky in the application process.
Right. And also another really popular subject in Hong Kong is, and I think there are limited offerings in the whole UK, is vet science,
Yes.
veterinary medicine. And I think Bristol is definitely top 5 on the list. Yeah, and
we have a fantastic vet school.
Yeah, and there are, I think, around 10 vet schools in UK only. Around 10, I think that's the number. And so I think there will be more quotas, as I remember, for vet-related courses. What student is Bristol vet medicine looking for?
Sure. You're right, Kenny. We don't have a quota for vet science or vet medicine in the same way that we do for medicine or dentistry because of the nature of the program. So again, similarly to medicine and dentistry, the first thing we look at will be students' grades. And for the vet science program, very similar requirements to the other 2 courses, the 3 A's, including chemistry and another science subject. Once we've had your academic scores come through to us, we actually don't interview applicants for vet science at the moment. We assess academic grades, and then our admissions team will send a supplementary questionnaire to students. So this is a form that will ask you some questions, and those questions are designed to help us assess whether you are aware of the skills that you need to succeed on the program, an understanding of the roles of veterinary surgeons, the different contexts that they work in and some of the challenges that they face, and also an understanding of how people work together. Because remember, when you're working as a veterinary surgeon, you're not just dealing with the animals, you're dealing with their carers, their owners as well. So it's important to have an understanding of the animals, but also the people that you'll be working alongside too.
Yeah, so I think that they will also go through placements around the farms and also different clinics throughout the vet program. I think because some students, in Hong Kong, they usually deal with cats, dogs, and some small animals. But in fact, for vet med, what I know is they will have to deal with all animals, like horses, cows, pigs. So for students who really want to study vet medicine, they will have to have a full knowledge of all animals, I'm sure. And
absolutely, yes. Yeah, we have also got lots of expertise in exotic animals as well.
Yep.
So at Bristol, we're really lucky because we have quite a large zoo in the local area, Bristol Zoo, and they've recently moved to a larger site that's just outside of the city centre. And so our students also have opportunity to work with the zoo as well. And of course, they have much more exciting, larger and more exotic animals that will help our students really get that broad spectrum of experience.
Right. Yes. And I know for Bristol Vet Science, there's a pathway operated by an official partner of Bristol called Kaplan. Yeah, it's also possible to be progressed to Bristol year 1. So I think for Hong Kong, we have a few students that successfully progress. So if students they slightly miss out the entry requirements of vet science, or they could not pass through the interview, they might consider the Kaplan Foundation for vet science as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have actually two options there. So we accept Kaplan's own foundation program, absolutely. But we also have our own University of Bristol foundation course that our colleagues at Kaplan manage the admissions process for as well. So both options, as I said, we accept, and they suit different kinds of students. The Bristol Foundation Programme is taught at our university. So excuse me, you would be on our campus, you would have contact with University of Bristol staff. So there's still, even then, two different options with the foundation route. As you say, if students don't quite meet the minimum direct entry requirements for study.
Yes, and for one of the most popular program, business school, definitely, especially for the finance field, and also accounting and finance, marketing, these kind of courses, they got a great career, especially for finance related students. They can get into those iBanks, Barclays, Goldman Sachs related. So what are the career prospect of Bristol graduates?
Is that particularly for business students?
Yes, for business students.
So our business students do have a lot of employability support throughout their studies, and we have professional skills development actually embedded in our degree courses. Students on those courses will also benefit from the support of our professional liaison network, and that team will manage our mentoring scheme, opportunities to visit companies, take part in internships and consultancy projects. So in terms of the kind of things that our students will go on to do, lots of our students might join graduate management schemes in either the public or private sectors. Others, of course, might go on to do further study, or they may pursue professional careers in finance, marketing, consultancy. Some of the recent employers that our graduates have worked with would include some quite big names, KPMG, Goldman Sachs, Amazon, the UK government as well. And also, what it's really important to say about Bristol as a city, it's very well known for supporting entrepreneurs and small startup companies. So we have a real hub for startups in the city. Some of our graduates will go on to create and run their own businesses. And we have a fantastic Basecamp enterprise team who support budding entrepreneurs and their ideas with skills workshops, networking events, and even funding programs as well. So lots of options for formal careers, but also for students who might be keen to start up their own business. There's some really fantastic support available at the university for that.
Yeah, I think, let's say like those hubs and funding programs really helps those startups, because let's say like the angel funds, seed funds will definitely help those small enterprises to grow in a fast pace. And I wonder if there are any professional placement degrees available in Bristol, let's say like with a year aboard or with placement year options. And I think generally in the whole UK, they have higher requirements for those programs because the seats are limited for those placement year options.
Sure. So in terms of where we have placement options available, we do certainly have some of those within the business school. So especially for our accounting and finance options, but we also have them across our life sciences programs in things like microbiology, biomedical sciences, and indeed in our faculty of engineering. So we've spoken a little about computer science already, but our degrees in mechanical, aerospace, civil, electrical, electronic, they also have year in industry options too. I would say it's not necessarily that the academic requirements are higher for those programs, but there is a selection process involved. So usually if you're interested in doing a placement year, you would speak to your school or faculty about that at the beginning of year 2 of your program. It's year 3 that you would go out and do that year. And they would talk to you about whether your academic performance means that it's sensible and practical for you to take that time out. But also there would then be an interview with one of the companies that you're wanting to go and spend time with. So it's not that we have the higher requirements through the UCAS process, but there would be a further selection process during study for students interested in doing those year-long opportunities.
Right. Yeah. I think we got a question from one of the students. So I think it's about the business school. So it's a simple question. So what are the majors available in Bristol? So usually accounting, finance, marketing, business management. So usually there's a combination available.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a very wide range of different courses, as you say, Kenny, in business and management, marketing, business analytics as well, accounting and finance, but also opportunities to combine those with elements of economics as well. So when students are choosing different courses, I would say consider firstly where your strengths are and what you enjoy. For example, if you're interested in going into a degree in accounting, finance, and certainly economics, do you enjoy maths and are you good at maths? Because that's usually a really important subject for those areas. And also, which areas of business are you really curious about that you maybe can see yourself working in the future? There is also a degree of flexibility across those subjects as well. So our business and management, marketing and international business management courses do have opportunities for you to move between those programs after your first year if you decide that you want to go into a slightly different discipline. And all of the programs too will have a lot of choice, especially in the third year of study. So that's where you can choose individual units and modules that really reflect your interests and the different areas that you want to explore, especially.
Right. I'm just going to add some personal opinions here because I was graduated from business as well. I studied economics and finance, majoring in finance. If students really wants to join the iBank or the finance industry, you should go for finance major or anything with finance. It will help your career. If you want to go join the iBank for the developer side, I think you should go for computer science related courses. Those programming-based modules will help you to join those iBank, some developer side jobs and also opportunities. Yes, that's my personal suggestion for students who choose selecting their majors. Because for Hong Kong, most of the students dream in joining the business school will be going to the iBanks because they get a relatively higher salary when they work in the finance field. Yeah, so I guess another really key program of list of Bristol is the PGT side. Yeah, we have lots of students graduating from UK, graduating from Hong Kong local universities. They look for new opportunities to pursue a master degree. So and the following question is we got a lot of inquiries for this one. It's, does Bristol accept any 2-2 students?
We may do occasionally. I would say that our typical entry requirement is a 2-1. And quite often, but not in all cases, you may need a relevant undergraduate discipline as well. We can sometimes accept a 2-2, but we would usually want to see some good related work experience to support your application in that case. So it's possible, and our online course finder will always explain where a lower grade may be accepted and the kind of work experience that we might consider to compensate slightly for that lower score.
Right. So at least there's still hope for, of course, I think Bristol as a prestigious university usually considers students with first on and also second up will be highly preferred. Yeah. So in some exceptional cases, 2-2 might be accepted, but you need to have strong background, working experience, strong references in such case. So I think we talked about medicine, dentistry, vet science, computer science related. So we miss out one really key programs of Bristol. It's called psychology. So for psychology, rankings are always high, top 3, top 5s in the UK. So I wonder for MSc psychology program, what background is Bristol looking for? Is Bristol accepting non-science background students or students with relatively weaker science background?
Sure. So for our postgraduate offering in psychology, we have two very different kinds of courses. We have our clinical and applied neuropsychology programs, which usually will require students to have a background in psychology. But from 2024, we're launching a new MSc in psychology that is a conversion program. So this is designed for students from non-psychology background. So actually, if you did have a psychology degree, you wouldn't be able to apply for this course because it's intended for students who come from very different disciplines. So in this course, students will learn the theories of the very different areas of psychology, so social, developmental, cognitive psychology, and really develop the skills to understand and apply the research on which those theories are based. So students coming onto this course might be interested in careers in maybe as a chartered psychologist. They might want to specialize in educational psychology, health, counseling, forensic psychology as well. And we do recognize that students might want to change their plans. This happens a lot. We have fantastic conversion programs in many different areas, and we're really pleased now to offer one in psychology as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I think most of students, we talk about the career support of the business school. Let's say they work with big companies like KPMG, and also even the UK government, they will still hire Bristol graduates. And also there's for startup students, they will there's a hub and also funding available for them. So yeah, we can see that for the employability, always top 10 for Bristol in the UK, and also high satisfaction from the employers. Yeah, and can you briefly talk about some career services generally provided to Bristol students? Yeah.
Sure. So as you've said, Kenny, we are one of the most targeted university by leading UK and international employers, but we also really understand how important students' future career opportunities are to them. So we do our very best to support them in investigating and moving on to those next steps. So students at Bristol will be able to access the guidance of our fantastic careers team right from day one of their studies and up to 3 years after graduation as well. So even when you've left Bristol, you can take advantage of all of the support that we give to students. So our advisors are on hand to give all sorts of practical advice. That can be from CV and application writing, interview workshops, advice about career options, further study. So the staff can really help you to explore your options, develop those employability skills, and really importantly, to make successful job applications for whichever career students are choosing to pursue. They also manage lots of events to introduce students to top employers in the UK. We have dedicated resources for international students and postgraduate students. And in a typical year, over 300 companies will take part in our employer events on campus. And that can be for presentations, for networking events, workshops, but also more commonly for the different careers fairs that we run.
Yeah, and
yes,
also,
our graduate destinations. Sorry, Kenny, carry on.
Yeah, I'm sure that employers really highly prefer Bristol candidates because, first of all, it's really strong in terms of ranking subjects and QS global rankings, and also there are career support from the start. You join the university, and we can see there are lots of strong graduate destinations. Yeah, I know a few Bristol graduates. They end up really top in their industry and also their field. They join the top companies. Yeah. And also talk about, I think for locational wise, it's definitely one of the most popular destination. We don't need much explanation for this one because I'm sure students, they all know about Bristol, and it's a nice place for them to stay in and also travel around, let's say travel around London, Exeter, and other areas. And also, I think these will be a key part that needs your introduction. It's about scholarships. So how Hong Kong students can achieve scholarships to when they join Bristol.
Sure. So we have a very large scholarship scheme at the university called Think Big. And for this coming September, we're investing over £3 million into our scholarship scheme. So there are separate awards available for undergraduates and postgraduates. For our undergraduate programs, all subjects are eligible, except unfortunately the 3 clinical courses, medicine, dentistry, and vet science. And all of our 1-year postgraduate programs are eligible as well. So hopefully we'll have a scholarship offering for most applicants who are applying. We do also have some living cost bursaries available for students as well. So those are awarded alongside the Think Big main scholarship scheme. So to be able to apply for Think Big, we don't base our decision on grades. As we've mentioned already, Kenny, some of our requirements we know are on the higher side that you might see across the UK. So we know that our applicants are really bright. So they've got some really fantastic grades in high school or in university. So to apply for Think Big, we have a particular application form, and that will ask you a series of questions which are helping us to understand more about your achievements, your contributions to your community, and that community could be where you live, your school, your university, but also your future plans. So how will studying the course with the funding from Bristol help you to think big in the future? So we have that one application form, and students will be considered for all of the funding that they're eligible for. So we do also have some school-focused scholarships as well. So for example, our business school will have scholarships, as do our law school, education, but you don't have to apply for lots and lots of scholarships separately. Just one application form is needed, and then we will consider you for everything that you are eligible for. So we do have a really good scholarship provision. Certainly in future years, we hope that will go up and give many more students the opportunity to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and also for accommodation, I think Bristol offers a number of nice accommodation for students. But what I heard is it's quite tight for students to the overall accommodation in the Bristol city. So what suggestions do you have if students wants to secure a place to live in Bristol University's accommodation?
Sure. So I have to say, Kenny, that we do have sufficient provision for new students to apply for accommodation, and we do have an accommodation guarantee. So we guarantee all of our new undergraduate international students a bed for their first year of study, and all new postgraduate international students, if they're coming to Bristol for the first time. There are some deadlines that you'll need to keep to be within that guarantee, but the deadline is usually the 30th of June each year. So by that point, you'll have your offer of study, you'll have made your firm and your insurance choice. And if you do accept Bristol as your firm choice, and you apply for accommodation by that deadline, you will be guaranteed one of the residences that we have at Bristol. And there are lots of different options that you can consider. Because we are a city campus, we have many different residences that have different styles in terms of what the architecture looks like, different facilities as well. And the map that you can see on the screen shows you where those different options are in relation to the main campus. So the main campus is the grey shaded area in the middle of the screen. So the 3 villages, east, west and north, I hope that gives you a bit of a picture as to where all of those options are based. And just to say, we've already spoken about our veterinary programme earlier on. For the veterinary science programme, which is 5 years in length, our vets for the first 3 years would be based in the centre of Bristol. And then for years 4 and 5, you'll spend much more time at our vet campus, which is in an area called Langford. And there is accommodation available there for our vet students for those last 2 years of the programme too. And this just gives you a hint of some of the different options that we have. So lots of different options based on the different areas around the city. every village has a very different feel. So if you want to live somewhere a little bit quieter, there are options for you. Or if you really do want to be right in the heart of the city where all of the action and nightlife is taking place, then absolutely you can opt for those residences as well.
Right. Yes, I think for Bristol, it's some of the programs are still available for the second round UCAS. Although the best period has passed, students should apply before January deadline for the most competitive programs. But if they still want to apply for Bristol, they should submit an application through UCAS. Of course, they can through SIOK. We are an official UCAS center, and for clearings, we do not know the available courses yet. Yeah, but it's very limited from my experience of working with Bristol. The options are very limited, and Bristol seldom do great drops. That's why it's prestigious. Don't expect they will drop grades from A star AA to ABB. That's not really possible for Bristol to happen. Yeah, so if you are a brilliant student, just feel free to apply to Bristol. So feel free to join the tours of Bristol and follow Bristol's page.
Absolutely.
And of course, yeah, like, comment, and share our page as well. So yeah, so thank you for all your time today. So feel free to apply if you want to apply to this QS Top 60 Global Ranking University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.